July 28th, 2016. I will call the meeting to order, and I'll also get my pen so I can do the roll call. Thanks, Ed. Okay. Mr. Aquafita, no. Mr. Arkillian, yes. Mayor Mignon?
Yes.
Eileen Boland, no. Dr. Gerwitz, no. Mr. Glass, no. Mr. Glasser, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Monroe?
Here.
And Mr. Caston is excused. Michael is here. And no. Okay. All right. We'll do the flag salute. Michael, you want to lead us? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You didn't hide it off you, did you? There. Look, you cleaned it out?
I threw all the junk out. Luke, short one.
Adequate notice of this public meeting has been made by sending notice on July 14th, 2014 to the record and by positioning of the
Yeah, they changed the date on it. It's December
15th.
Yeah.
Okay. In the lobby of Borough Hall, and filing notice, same with the municipal clerk. I just want to remind everybody we have 3 exits. There's one here, there's one there, and of course the one that you came in. All right. We only have one order of business. It is a memorialization of a resolution for 10 Route 4 West 2016-01, 10 Route 4 West Block 1403, Lot 9. We have the applicant present. Did you want to say anything before we move forward on this?
I don't know. What do we need to...
You don't really need to do anything.
We're just memorializing the decision.
Your approval. Mm-hmm.
The approval on the...
Yes. What was approved, yeah. Okay. Anybody from the dais have anything to add? Okay.
Now, does this include as well the streetscaping?
Right now it's included in there, yes.
Oh, then I'd like to speak to about this.
Okay. You were sworn in at the last
Yes.
meeting, so I'll remind you, you're still under oath.
Okay. My question about the streetscaping, we discussed at the last meeting how far it should go as far as what exactly is necessary to do. So I had a meeting with Rob Costa, and he brought me a diagram, showed me what River Edge requires as far as streetscaping, and I questioned him as far as the size of the sidewalks on the diagram. The current sidewalks on Marginal Road are 6'6" from curb to end. And on the diagram you show them to be 9 feet. So that would be quite a bit bigger than what's currently there, and would require quite a bit of additional work to get them to that size, and cost, obviously. The sidewalks at Bogart Road are 13 feet wide, currently. So there already is discrepancy between the two sidewalks at the curb, between one and the other. And so I'd like to first ask if we can maintain the 6'6" sidewalks at Marginal Road as is, and the 13-foot sidewalks at Baldwin Road.
I think you have to look at the property lines. If that's going to be the marker. Where your property, the distance from the curb to your, generally the back of the sidewalk is usually aligned with the property lines.
Mm-hmm.
So that would generally be the marker. I don't know if it's on the survey.
This would be,
I know, but it's not the survey.
it's not the actual, they took it off of the survey.
I just want to remind you that we're not here to reopen the hearing this
Well,
evening.
he'd have to ask for a reopening, and then if you want to change anything. I'm just trying to see if we can clarify.
Well, at the last meeting, we really didn't clarify, we had a meeting
It
with
said you
Rob.
comply with the ordinance, that's what the memorialization is going to.
I'm sorry, say again?
The agreement that you will comply with our ordinance, so the ordinance requires the streetscape from the existing curb to the property lines. That's the way the ordinance is enforced now. So if you had 4 feet, it would be 4 feet. We can't make you build public sidewalk on your property, so it's always within the right of way. So that's why you see that, that's why there's a discrepancy, because probably the state took a road widening or something at one point, and that's why it's narrower over there than say on the public road on the Bogart side.
Understandable, all right.
So if you wanted to request relief from that, or what you're attempting to do at this point, you would have to call and reschedule and be put back on the docket for that. And if you want, we could not act on this tonight, or act on it
Well,
tonight
I
and
would
try
still,
to,
I would still do it, and then he can come back and amend the
for
application.
reconsideration, yeah.
Because, I mean,
But we would have to, I'd have to consult with our attorney to see if it has to be renoticed.
Well, the streetscape was something that was brought up at the last meeting. We weren't expecting to hear about streetscape. It was never mentioned earlier. It was never presented by the planning board when I filed an application. I filed an application basically just for the renovation of the building, not to touch any of the sidewalks whatsoever. And so I was in shock, honestly, at the meeting to be asked to replace all the sidewalks when I wasn't even touching the sidewalks. I was only working on the building. And so first I asked, the streetscaping that you're mentioning, that you're talking about, from what I tried to do some research on it, I understood it was just for Kindercomack Road
no,
and not townwide,
no, it's our C1 zone, any commercial zone.
any commercial zone. But would that be required of a commercial building if they're replacing sidewalks?
It's required to come in for site plan approval, which is
For
what we
any
said.
approval, for any type of
Yes.
approval?
That's
Site
correct.
plan approval.
It's actually written in the ordinance.
Site plan.
It's written in the ordinance.
It's not a matter of us even being able to just not address it, because it's actually written in the ordinance.
Okay. It was a complete shock to me, and so at the meeting, the last meeting, I didn't really know how to answer, and that's why I had a meeting with Rob to kind of understand what's involved in it. And the cost of replacing, I have almost 300 feet of sidewalk. The cost, I got an estimate, is close to $50,000. And it's an
Yeah.
extreme economic hardship to replace all of those sidewalks, which only a few of them are cracked.
What I might suggest, if the rest of the board is in agreement, is to have you come back where we can put this on the agenda.
Mhm.
You can ask for a reconsideration.
No, I don't know if it's Brian, because it was a condition they
I would
agreed
have
to,
to
so I would
check.
not memorialize it tonight, because they agreed to it at the hearing, so we can't memorialize tonight then. Because you can't memorialize this and then have them come back and have to change it.
Well, from what I understand, we discussed it at the meeting, but we left it off that Rob was gonna
I
come to...
know, but it's a condition of the approval, so.
It was
to follow
actually-
the ordinance that's in place in the town.
But it was actually,
It's written
Part-
into here.
Yes.
It's written there?
Into the approval, yeah.
I misunderstood that then, because I thought we were just going to readdress it at this meeting. It wasn't...
No, there was no intent, it was,
This is really not to discuss anything, it's just to memorialize the
yeah.
information that was.
Yeah, I misunderstood that.
And I think we can talk to Brian, because this is what happens when applicants come in who don't have attorneys. And if Mr. Barrett or another land use attorney had been representing the applicant, all these things would be known ahead of time.
Right, but if, you know, even the planning board would have given me some
Well,
type
that's,
of...
I'm not gonna say, but that's not incumbent on us. You know, you're the applicant, so you need to be aware, and usually, particularly commercial applicants do not, most boards won't even hear a commercial applicant without being represented by an attorney.
Oh, I didn't know
So-
that either.
Well, I'm just saying
I'm a
in
small-
general,
I'm a
so
small
generally,
business,
I know, but even on the most minor application, it's a commercial application, generally, they're represented by attorneys, because they know, especially the local ordinances, and they'll know all the things, and they would know, you know, which type of witnesses you need to present, what kind of proofs you need to put on the record, You know,
I know my architect would
sometimes
have
we're less,
known most of that, to be
we're less
honest with you.
formal.
It's understandable, I'm not disagreeing with
And
you,
I'm
I
not-
think
I'm
you're
not
right,
saying-
I think you're absolutely right. It should have been,
And
it should have been
of course,
caught
the
off
issue
guard
is
for something like this.
that we've imposed this on everybody. Everybody that comes through here gets this imposed on.
The only thing I do contend with is, we do have this excessively wide section, but, it's right away, you know, so you can't make it shorter, we can't
Right.
move the curb line in. But, you know, that's sort of an anomaly of the geography over here.
Well, is it at all possible to, because I have my issue is I have this tenant that I signed up, took me quite a while to sign him up. And the only way for him to use the space is for me to do the work in the front of the building, to open up the front.
No,
I'm
I
sorry,
didn't-
just
I
one
didn't
second,
catch-
that's when the record reflected. It's 8:45, 7:45, and Dr. Gerwitz is here. Good evening, doctor.
Good evening, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think we're okay, because I didn't realize what the fine had written at the last thing. He said that the streetscape improvement shall be required as the streetscape orders of the borough, taking into consideration the existing condition of the site, and same can be modified by the borough engineer. So, he did give...
Yeah, that's what Brian and I had discussed.
So, and then it said the agreement shall require improvements to be installed within 1 year, and you can request a 3-month extension. So, what I would suggest is we go forward and memorialize this.
Yes.
You can meet with Mr. Costa again and see if something can be modified or arranged. If not, then you would need to come back to the board and ask for either a waiver or something like that. But I think to keep you going forward, I think there's enough flexibility in the language to at least get you
Fantastic.
started.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
And
Dr.
also
Gerwitz,
give
you
us
didn't
time,
say
because
anything.
we may need to amend the ordinance to look at conditions like this.
Yeah,
I think my building is a very unique condition.
you're actually an
Yeah,
anomaly.
but that's not, but doesn't mean you should be excused from it,
Right.
but I mean, when you were, obviously, when these ordinances were written, the streetscape ordinance was probably written 15 or 16 years ago, and, you know, it's not until certain situations arise where you see when it gets implemented that there might be the need to modify the
I
language.
appreciate if you would reconsider.
So we're approving it as is.
Understand.
With the language in here that says Mr. Costa has the ability to modify, and then we'll see if something can be arranged.
I appreciate that.
I said I'll bring it back to the council to look at the ordinance to see if, I gotta think about how we would handle, because if you were if we had more commercial businesses on your side, the white sidewalks make sense, you know, you want to pedestrian friendly and all that, but you go right into a residential zone,
On both sides.
yeah, so.
I'm surrounded by residential.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think this gives you, I think the board can feel
An air of
comfortable approving
flexibility.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the board, and then it stays to the letter of the ordinance, but we can modify it.
And I'll catch Mr. Costa up
And the
on
fact that
what
you
we
have,
discussed.
you know, you have a year to implement it after the developer's agreement, which would probably take a couple months to get that moving anyway, so.
Very good, thank you very much, appreciate that.
Anything else?
No?
Okay, would anybody else on the dais have anything to say? Okay, in that case, I'm gonna ask for a motion to accept the memorialization as written.
So move.
That would be the mayor. Second? Okay. Mr. Grasso, okay. And the roll call, Mayor Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Arkelian, yes. Dr. Gerwitz?
And I can vote.
I was just saying, since I wasn't here for the original planning board,
Okay, they have you on the list here, okay.
I was not here in, whatever, July, what was that date?
2 weeks ago. He was absent.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I
That's
wasn't
right.
here.
That's correct on here.
Okay, Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
And Mr. Craig?
Yes. So I abstained.
Dr. Gerwitz, don't forget to
I
sign.
don't think you called Mr. Grasso.
You have me down for yes?
I did, didn't I?
No, I don't think you called him.
Let's see, yeah, she's got me screwed up here, right? The names are a little... Yeah, I have you down. Oh,
I don't-
you know what, I have you for the second.
I
Now you have you for the.
Okay.
Perfect. Doc, I'll leave this here for you to sign.
Yep.
There is a little thing, your excuse. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Quick point of interest, because I wasn't here for the last meeting. So this was just a revision to, what was
There was
exactly?
no revision. It was just voting on memorialization. He had come forward, he had agreed to do the streetscape. When he found out what it was gonna cost, he came back asking for relief. Told him it wasn't appropriate to do that at this particular time. We discussed some different things. Mayor Mignon made note that there was an air of flexibility with the borough engineer in the
In terms of the-
memorialization,
in
and
terms
we
of the-
decided to move forward.
Because I would say, I thought I had already signed this, that that had been agreed upon, the resolution had been determined, that's why I was confused.
Do we want to join
Okay.
that? We have $85, first of all.
I think this, we always join this.
We haven't joined in the past couple of years.
Really?
All right, so let's go back to it. It's probably a good thing for us to be.
Yeah, that's how you get the courses and all those things.
Mhm. All right,
I
so,
think-
yeah.
I think the $85 is in the budget.
Okay. You want me to call Al to check on that? Let's see, we have PSE&G, it's just an FYI. And, let me mark. Where are you, Doc? There you are. He came in at 7:45. Okay, that's it. There will be, if you didn't get it, there'll be no meeting in August.
No work session either, correct?
No, we're gonna take the month off, like every other planning board in New Jersey. I want to thank our secretary for coming tonight, filling in. I guess we're gonna have to try to figure out a replacement, because if, we just can't keep going on like this.
What happened?
It's not that straightforward.
Right, but we'll get, maybe you can talk to Alan for us and see what's gonna happen. We gotta, if we don't have her, we need somebody. And I know that your schedule is pretty difficult in the evenings from our discussions. So, and I understand they're also gonna work on getting our meetings, put up on the website, because that hasn't happened in a while. Okay, I'll entertain a meeting to, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Monroe? Mr. Gerwitz, you hurry to get out of here. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstain? Very good. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Very good. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Very difficult to get out.
Care.
Richard just doesn't show up.
Doesn't matter.
I know.